get Travis to haul it away and, use it for the roads or something. But that's not something that would cost us a lot of money, and I don't imagine grading would necessarily cost us a heck of a lot if we got up there with a couple of back blades and
I'm just thinking off the top of my head, and I haven't even pasted or something. But you might need a truckload of loam or something once we get the materials. So you might be talking, a truckload of loam would probably cost, I don't know, $500, $600, something like that. So you might be.
How about a truckload of composted manure? Grass goes real good out of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There's also a fair amount of junk in that foundation.
Yeah, that's the cleanup part of it.
There's a oil drum, I think, and
yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's why it'd be good just to have an itemized list of specifically what we're going to do there. So if we come up with that list between Rick and I, then that would be good. So we've talked about definitely doing something. So I'm going to contact Tim relative to the bridge and the culvert. Rick and anybody else is welcome to join in coming up with the Gates Hill thing. What do we need to do to pursue something on Jassie's Meadow?
Yeah, well, we don't need permission.
Is that right, Mark?
Right. You might want to tell the Concom.
Just Concom? No, really. Is it just Concom? I mean, because that's.
Well, it's a little tricky.
I thought you said there was something else potential there.
There's something in the CR with DCR that says when a field, if a field reverts to early successional growth, which is what we have in that area, you're not allowed to bring it back to field status. I really think that was aimed more at trying to bring it into agricultural field status than into a meadow or clearing or whatever you want to call it. But we probably would need to initiate a conversation with the stewardship coordinator over at Water Supply.
There's an area there that's pretty well shaded by tall pine trees that might be less labor intensive to keep as a meadow. When we were walking through there with Roger, there was that one area where he said, "So why isn't anything growing here?" Remember that?
Yeah.
I wonder if that might be the best place to develop as a meadow. And we could get around that problem.
The only thing about the meadow that we're talking about is that it was a meadow. So it's very well delineated, but.
Have you thought about the amount of work that's going to be required to keep it as a meadow? That's what I'm kind of concerned about. Because trees definitely like to grow in that area.
Well, this is maybe a good point. I mean, do we want to leave it on the projects list or just take it off and do it? If we're going to leave it on the projects list, then we should think about doing something. What do you think, Mark?
I don't think it's been very well defined on what our goal is here. I mean, what do we want to create out of this thing?
Yeah.
Well, could we come up with a sort of like what Todd was talking about? Maybe a portion of it could be a meadow. I'm thinking of like a meadow is like a place where people could go and have a picnic. Does that sound right to anybody else or?
I think the picnics are best up at the picnic table, and a meadow is just more or less something you walk by from a distance, and there's butterflies and bees and more of a pollinator habitat. I don't know. Or maybe around the perimeter of it, sort of like
But
this
You'd
small-
want it to grow up then into like an old field situation.
Well,
Where butterflies aren't just going to come to a mown expanse.
Right.
Well, Todd does have a good point. It's not that easy to get down to, like, I don't know, from trying to get the town to do something. So it would be another item that would require some sort of maintenance if you're going to keep it as a meadow. So we could just leave it and just let it grow if that's what people want. But if that's the thing, then let's take it off our list.
Or it could be Jesse's forest. How about that? Just saying. I mean, I'm almost serious. So, because the further we get away from her being closely associated, the less, it would be nice to do something before the space gets really large in time and space. What, Rick? It's just a thought.
But I do think there's a fair amount of area that is not being invaded by woody plants at the moment. I think because it's fairly heavily shaded.
What area are you talking about, Todd?
Well, let's see, how would you describe it? If you were to go down the hill, straight down the hill from the picnic tables, and then bear to the left, there is an area that's pretty clear.
Yeah, right on. It almost looks like a trail.
Oh, well, there's a passageway already started there. I think it was some sort of a trail that went down the hill.
Not sure
what
about that. It might be worth taking a look.
Yeah, I'd like to go over and see what you're talking about. And what are you thinking for that area?
Well, I mean, it might be a place that could be kept relatively clear with relatively little effort because it's so shaded that the trees aren't going to be coming in there. Or at least they haven't been coming in there
The,
in recent years.
the old field runs essentially north-south. And what Todd's talking about is the southern, maybe third of the.
Yeah,
third or
yeah,
quarter of
that's
the
right.
Area that's enclosed by stone walls.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you mean. But
Talking about the,
I'd like to be down there and walk it if anybody's interested in just
I
kind
was
of.
thinking, like a
Yeah,
field
we should do that.
because we could check out gates and come up with ideas, and then this other meadow area,
Mhm.
because we're so close.
Or you want to set a date for that so that that way you could talk a little bit more specifics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
it's easy for us. I don't know. Mark
Where's
is
your,
the one.
where's your calendar?
My
Susan?
calendar's right here, of course. We don't want to double up on. But soon, like somewhere in the week of, you want to get those brochures done. How about this next week?
Yeah, well, it has to be next week.
Yeah, like somewhere in the 12th through the 16th or on a weekend. I mean, because I don't know what other people's, we're pretty flexible.
It should be a pretty quick visit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't even do it Saturday morning or something. How
maybe
about Saturday morning?
This Saturday?
Yeah.
For Easter.
It's going to be the day after Susan has her second COVID shot.
I'll be fine.
So, yeah,
wow.
you know that for a fact?
Yeah,
My daughter is puking her guts
Be
out.
good for
yeah,
her.
and I'm,
The day after isn't necessarily a very good day.
That's what I'm trying to say, Susan.
yeah, well, you guys, in case, if this works for everybody else, I'll just.
We'll
sit at
drag her
home.
down there.
No, you can bring, yeah, why don't you go for it? Because we've got so many other things coming up with Fieldstone. and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, we'll plan it, and if Susan's not feeling well, then we can just reschedule.
No, you go and, all right, let's
Oh,
just,
no, you gotta be there.
no, what time on the 3rd?
10, 10:30, 11?
10:30?
Yeah,
10?
after course.
10:30
10:30.
at Gates Hill. All right.
Uh,
Oh, and then I can pick Mark's brain about the
no,
book.
Jeff.
Yeah, no, I'm probably just gonna beg off. I'll go with the consensus of whatever people think out there.
All right.
Okay.
You know, to Todd's point about, you know, more things to maintain. I mean, somewhere down the line, we're gonna have to start figuring out what we're gonna do over Geordie Lane. And Mark's done all the, you know, base work. That's gonna take some work.
That was,
I mean,
something that I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight.
Ah,
So, I mean, I think with just maintenance of what we have now and just the ad hoc stuff that comes up, like, you know, the falls and everything else. I mean, I'd rather see us spend our time, if, you know, work time, working on Geordie Lane to get some trails in there or whatever we're gonna do with it.
All right.
Than doing Jassie's Meadow.
All right, that's exactly why I had some of these things on the list there. So I think we talked about all these things sufficiently and have a path forward relative to, or the next steps anyway, relative to gates, the culvert, the bridge, et cetera. You want to talk to Geordie Lane, Mark?
Yeah. We, and this is, it's kind of a segue from your recent conversations with the Concom, because I had intended to present that to the Concom last spring. And then when none of us were having any meetings anyway, I just kind of set it on the table and it hasn't budged since. But that plan does need to go to the Concom. And I was, you know, it might make sense, Bob, for you to forward it on as chair of, you know, look, we told you that we would do a land management plan out of here ages ago. Here it is, see what you think about it. And if people were interested, we could, I mean, I'd love to do a joint committee walk out there mid-June during Mountain Laurel season,
mm,
and, you know, give them a view for anybody that's willing to get out in the woods.
What's a good date for just an approximate date for Mountain Laurel?
15th,
What?
15th of June,
15th of June, approximately.
give or take a week or 10 days.
All right, I'll bring that to them.
But let's see, I owe you Tim's contact info. Let me take another look at the plan itself that's up on our Google Drive. At this point, it's like 2 years old, I think. I want to make sure that I didn't have any dates in there that things were going to be happening.
Okay. And just relative to extending the Geordie Lane thought a little bit more, and in preparation for something in the early to mid-June timeframe, is there trail work we would like to propose at the same time so we can cover both the land management plan and trail concepts?
Well, part of my motivation for getting them out there would be that if we do want to move forward with trails at some point out there, it's likely to involve a certain amount of bog bridging.
Yep.
Which definitely falls into the Concom's purview. And
Okay.
we would, so we'd be approaching them with a request for determination as to whether we really have to go through a permitting process or anything.
Okay.
And the answer should be no, but it's a lot easier for them to get to that answer if they're familiar with the property.
Okay, so sometime between now and then, maybe you have, identify maybe approximate areas where we might want to do something.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good enough for now. All right, anybody got anything else? So that was some good discussion on doing something with some of these projects that were hanging on our list here.
Well, we did get an estimate from Roger Plord for the update of the forest management plan. And he says it would be 6,500 for both the Malone and the Gates and the Mount Jeff areas. He didn't break it down into the two pieces. So anyway, sounds like a lot of money.
yeah, essentially that would be about a $2,000 investment for us. We've got $4,500 available in funding, or that should be available. But I mean, at this point,
Why'd you say it was only?
at this-
Why'd you say it was only a $2,000 investment? Some of that gets funded by the state or something, or what?
yeah, there's a grant program that for the two properties would mount up to about $4,500.
Oh, okay.
But we're basically too late at this point to make it happen for this fiscal year. Both in terms of Roger's availability, I think,
Yeah.
and in terms of getting an application and funding in. So, I mean,
When would we have to, when would we have to get the request for the grant in to get it to happen next fiscal year?
for next fiscal year, I think they basically run them rolling.
I'm sorry.
think- I don't think there's a specific
Yeah.
application period,
There didn't seem to be a deadline.
but there won't be, I mean, nothing will be forthcoming until the new fiscal year funding is finalized, which usually happens in the fall sometime,
Okay.
October-ish.
This is a stupid question, but since it's two different properties, could we get two grants?
Yeah, that I already included that in the $4,500.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So, you know, I think we would be looking at applying next fall. And you know, we really don't need to decide right now.
Okay.
But the decision will be, is it worth $2,000 to us? Or should we just wait until we're closer to wanting to actually do something out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. What that's sort of what I was thinking, Mark. Is this something that just can wait till exactly what you said? Do we want to do something?
Yeah.
What's it going to do for us to do that now?
What's it going to do for us if we do it anytime? No, I mean, if I remember right, last meeting, Mark, you said that there's no requirement that we update the land management.
Yeah,
plan.
there's no regulatory hammer that I'm aware of that's looming over our head on this.
All right, so let's just put that on the back burner for the time being then. Any other new business?
Getting proactive about, well, seeking out parcels that we want to target for acquisition. I saw that on the list, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, that's one of my things. We've got a fair number of short-term action items, but that needs to, from my thoughts, should be something that we want to address pretty soon. I don't think we want to take that topic up tonight, but it would be good to develop a strategy. So, we do have a priority list, and there's some phenomenal properties that are still in an undisturbed state. And it would certainly be better maybe to be proactive on some of those ones that are just sitting there with no development, they're not up for sale, et cetera, versus waiting till we get into like what we ran into with Fieldstone, so. At any rate, but again, I don't want to get into that, but that definitely, Susan, is a thing that I think is very important, is if we could potentially negotiate with some of the things that we found out from some of the webinars, like, I don't know, even I had a discussion with Ray Sawyer over the last 3-4 weeks. And he, through some of the discussions I have, he knew that we were pursuing property on the other side of the town. I don't even know if he knows what Fieldstone is. He's been in town for forever. So he probably has a pretty good idea, but maybe not much detail. But I told him about some of the things that came up in some of the webinars where relative to just the tax process that was used in the acquisition of Geordie Lane. Steph and I sat in on one where was she from? Sudbury? No, the North Shore. But they had a really nice piece of property. What you can get now, if when Geordie Lane was acquired, it was 60 grand. Up on the North Shore, somebody that was really somebody from a land trust that was really very good at that kind of acquisition process. The rate now, the max rate now is 75,000. The person had 2 parcels, and so they just worked things out with the person that he didn't want to do anything that instantly, so he could wait a little bit. So they broke it up, and the guy got 75K for one parcel and 75K for another parcel. Ended up getting $150,000, which basically made everybody happy, and they were able to get the land conserved. But anyway, so that it got Ray's attention, and there's a lot of parcels around like that. But it would take, looking at them, seeing what they're like, talking to the landowners, et cetera, relative to potentially moving some really beautiful properties into into conservation land. So, but that's a whole new topic. But we definitely, I'd want to be on a subgroup that would be willing to work on that. So, at any rate, that's enough on that. Any other comments or topics for new business?
So should we confirm Saturday at 10:30 up at Gates Hill, Mount Jeff then? Yes? Or we
Yes.
doing
Oh,
that?
yeah. That's a
Very good.
done deal.
I just double check on things. You don't know that?
Sounds
Okay,
great. We'll be there.
all right.
All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Not until we get the next meeting reminder, April 20,
Right, Susan. Next meeting, lady.
April 27 is the last Tuesday.
April 27th?
Yeah.
I know, I even got the agenda in on time this time.
Hey, has anybody seen any lady slippers over at Fieldstone? Mark, you've done the most research over there, or anybody? Has anybody
Recently?
seen?
You mean just in general or recently?
Well, whenever we've only been there in
Not
the
recently.
fall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think they're up yet.
Yeah. Well, no, that would be a draw though for a walk. But
Yeah, you could ask Linda. She would probably know.
I'll get in touch with her because that would be interesting to me.
They like,
Might have to wait,
I'm
maybe.
trying to remember where there were a lot of pine,
They like a
lady
lot of
slip-
pine.
the lady slippers love pine forest, so.
I thought they liked oak too, though. No? Yeah, well, that's another time, another place.
Yeah, that's right.
So I move to adjourn.
You want to
Second.
chat about lady slippers?
Do I hear a second?
Todd second.
And do I hear any objections to adjourning?